Americans and other citizens living in the US, please pay attention. I'm European. I'm from Portugal. I'm a lawyer and I've studied law. I've studied international law and the events that created several international laws. So those events, how you can imagine, they are wars, invasions, genocides. You need to pay attention and act immediately. If you are an immigrant, even if you are legal immigrant, you need to leave immediately because you are going to be the next. If you are trans, I guess you already understand what is happening. You need to leave immediately. Also, if you are gay, you need to leave immediately. People of any color besides white are going to be in danger. So, if you have the ability to leave, do it. Especially if you have children, leave. The others need to stay and need to protest, to resist. This is going to be very ugly. And I really would like this video, this message, will go to cross the Atlantic and to you guys. Please share as many times you can. I'm not going to go on details. I'm just saying, if you are one of these people, leave immediately. Immediately. Don't think twice. Okay? We are very concerned, very, very, very concerned. We are watching with horror. We've saw this happen before here. And your borders probably will close in 1 or 2 months. And prisons are being built. And nobody will be safe. But white people, in particularly, you need to protest right now. Oh, I'm going to lose my job. If every single one of you go to the streets, you are not going to lose your job. Okay? You need to understand that you were educated with individualism, but you really need to act like a community right now. You really need to change that mind, and you really need to act as a community right now. And don't be afraid, oh, if I'm going to protest, they do this, or they will do worst. Will do worst. Please, take this video very serious. We know what is going to happen. We see it when trans people cannot have a passport issue right now. This is so concerning, so concerning. If they are refusing to issue passports, please get a lawyer and never ever go there alone. Hire a lawyer. It's very important that every single one of you, especially these people that I mentioned, if you are not able to get a passport to leave the country, please hire a lawyer. Don't try to do it by yourself. It will be dangerous, okay? So, I'm not going to say more right now, but we are watching, and we are here to support you and open our arms if it's necessary. So good luck to all of you.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Rule Well. Peace and blessings and salutations to the whole elect. Noise in the gospel broad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. Lord's will to be edifying. This is a lawyer. I think she says she's from Portugal. She's from across the pond, so she's in basically Spain, Europe. And she basically just gave you a straight warning, and I suppose that she couldn't disclose everything because, you know, under a lawyer you have certain things you can disclose, and you have certain oaths that you are committed to of keeping certain secrets safe within your government or your legal structure, so to speak. So in many ways, she's just basically telling you straightforward, if you are so-called classified with being a minority, or basically DEI, which stands for diversity, equity, inclusion, then basically the target, you have a bullseye on you. Okay, she mentioned if you are so-called blacks, Hispanics, if you are gay, or you identify with a certain particular lifestyle, then 9 times out of 10, you're on the chopping block. Okay, and this is funny because this is a warning coming from somebody that's in a whole different country that knows a lot about what's going on in your country than you know. And that's kind of strange because the people and the citizens of America don't know a damn thing. Okay, these people are totally out of the loop because they've been constantly bombarded with poisons, chemical foods, TV, cell phones, this AI stuff. I mean, the list goes on. Okay, it's never an end of social entertainment here in America, and this is why the people's mindsets are totally the minds is totally fried, man, to say the least. Hold on. Damn. To say the least. And this is why these people are bugging out, you know, the foods and everything like that. But anyway, long story short, there's going to be a time of great purging here in America because, see, the elites, they've already washed their hands of this place. Okay, America, aka the war machine, they've done their bidding. They've already done or fulfilled their purpose as to enslaving. Damn thing. They've already done their purpose and their bidding by enslaving the children of Israel and, you know, setting up certain policies and geopolitics and, you know, depleting the world of resources with their military industrial complex, and also getting the citizens to be overly fat and sick and not empathetic at all. They've already fulfilled their purpose. So, you know, now it's just like, okay, the hell with them. Because you Americans, you don't really, you have the lowest IQ, okay? Academically, you're poor as hell. Okay, you're the biggest, you're the fattest. Your livelihoods, you have the shortest lifespan known to any other so-called European nation. America, you by far have the shortest lifespan of a functioning world. Now, we're not including countries like Tibet and Africa and those third world countries, because we know the life expectancy in those particular countries are relatively shorter because, you know, they have a lack of resources. But here you have resources, but yet your lifespan is shorter than what it was even 20 years ago because of the chemicals, man. So now the elites, they're about, they're about done with you, man, you know? So get a couple of precepts real quick because we're in a time now of great purging. All right. She mentioned that Geno and CIDE, which is side. Now, when you look up the word GNOCIDE, and I say that to trip up the algorithm because, you know, the algorithm, they still tripping. Okay. The algorithm, they would still flag on certain terms and, you know, they'll still come up with certain conclusions to take your videos down, even though, you know, I don't think videos have been taken down like that in a while, but, you know, knock on wood, because now they got this new variant scare back in the news that they're trying to push fear again. And, you know, who knows, you know, this thing is kind of tricky. But when you look up GNOCIDE, and it says here, the deliberate killing of a large number of people from a particular nation or ethnic group with the aim of destroying that nation and group. All right. And when you go to Psalms 83, that speaks of a genocide among the children of Israel, man. Okay, because they know that you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, predominantly, they know you're the children of Israel. And they know that a lot of you live wicked lifestyles. That's why she mentioned being GAY or trans or all this other shit, because you got Jake that's heavily into those particular lifestyles, those alternative lifestyles, which brings nothing but death and destruction upon our people. So Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is getting ready to send the tenants of Esau, Edom, in the form of his martial law troops, whether it be from, you got the UN, which the United Nations consists of, let's look up, UN consists of, right? And it says here, the United Nations is a global intergovernmental it says United Nations is a global intergovernmental organization consisting of 6 main bodies: the General Assembly, the Security Council, the Economic and Social Council, the Trusteeship Council, and an International Court of Justice in the UN Secretariat. Okay, it says the UN also comprises a vast network of funds, programs, specialized agencies, and other related organizations. All right. So it says here, Security Council responsible for maintaining international peace and security. So under this particular notion here, a global act of security, hey, they could deploy troops on you, man, because they already deeming Jake as the face of domestic terrorism. Okay, the so-called black man. This is why every time you turn on the news, you're being accused of a national crime, or you just bugging the hell out, because they're putting the scopel on you, Jake, because ultimately you're the target, man. You know, you're the target. So anyway, let's get a couple precepts here. This one gonna be a long lesson, but hey, Jacob's trouble. Hey, Jeremiah 30:7. It says, alas, that day is great, that it is none is like it. And it's even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he should be saved out of it. So we're coming into a time of great threshing among our people. Okay, the Lord is getting ready to pull out the final ass whooping on you Israelites, man. And you Americans too, because she made a mention of how the Americans need to ban and how they're not going to target Edomites. Now they're going to target Edomites too. Okay, you better believe Edomites are going to get caught up into this, because Esau have what he call collateral damage. When he would be justified on bombing the entire world just to get 10 people, he'll do it if it's that detriment to him. All right. But this is the book of Jeremiah 49. And I'm going to start at verses. Let's start at 31. It says, arise and get you up into the wealthy nation. It says, which dwelleth without care, says Yahweh, which have neither bars nor gates, which dwell alone. That's Babylon, man. Okay. Because when you look in America, America doesn't have bars. It doesn't have gates. Okay, you have the, matter of fact, you have the southern border, you have the border to Canada, and I believe, let's look this up. How many borders does the U.S. have? 2 countries, right? You got the north and you got the south. So you got the north border, you got the south border. It says additionally has a maritime boundary with Russia, though that's disputed. So you got the border here through Mexico, and then you got north land borders, which harbors Canada. Has land borders with Canada to the north, Mexico to the south, maritime borders of Russia to the rest. And you got to forget that literally Alaska, if you go up into Anchorage, Alaska, you can look right into Russia, because I believe back in the 50s or something like that, or the 40s or something, I think shortly after World War II, if I'm not mistaken, if I could recall. Basically, they, I believe they purchased it from Russia, if I'm not mistaken. But let me look that up. Let me double check. Let me get my facts right on that. Was purchased from Russia. Yep, Alaska was purchased from Russia by the United States. I thought it was in the 1950s. I didn't think it was in 1896, huh? Yeah, it became a state in 1959. Okay. But it says here on March 30th, 1867, with U.S. paying Russia $7.2 million for the territory. So, wow. So basically, Russia or Alaska was a territory of Russia. That's interesting. Because if you look at it here, I mean, it's literally across the pond. I mean, you go to certain parts of Alaska. If you go to the far west of Alaska, you can literally see right into Russia. It's literally in a back door. Then you got Canada, and then you got America. Yep. So anyway, going back here, it says, arise and get you up into the wealthy nation that dwelleth without care, says the Lord, which have neither bars nor gates, which dwell alone. Yeah, okay, because, you dwell in safety. Okay, you have exceptional wealth, you have resources, you have all manners of tenants working for you, while other nations are starving. But it says, and that camel should be a booty, and a multitude of their cattle will spoil you, and I will scatter into all the winds them that are in the utmost corners, and I will bring calamity from all sides thereof. And you heard what she said. She said a mass genocidal experiment. Now, how the hell does she know more about this, what's going on in your borders, and you don't even have any clue about it? Well, the answer to that is because America has a media blackout on it, man. Okay, like 90% of the news we get is totally, it's off the books. Like, we don't even get the real news. Okay, we get shit that they want us to see, but things that's happening, like the real tenets, like how you just NATO and Ukraine is basically trying to bomb Russia and go back and forth for Russia, bombing certain sites and certain caches and so forth. Like the real news behind that stuff, we ain't getting the real ordeal here in America because we got a block on us, man. So we're subjugated to, what Amalek wants us to see. But there's a lot of shit happening in the world that we're not privy to, man. Because, the media blackouts, man. But it says here, and that camel should be a booty, and the multitude of their cattle will spoil, and I will scatter into all the winds them that are in the utmost corners, and I will bring a calamity from all sides thereof. So you're going to get hit from all sides because we understand that this place is going to be surrounded. And you already have foreign nationals that's already in place ready to disrupt Babylon from the inside out. While they're blaming so-called citizens of America for conversing with T groups and stuff like that through particular online posts, you got splinter cells or sleeper cells that's set up right in your neighborhoods, man, just waiting on the beck and call. Okay, let's not forget back in 2023 when those Semitic nationals, those Ukrainian nationals, them Chinese nationals, and all those particular nationals, those particular nationals are in the borders of America, man. And one of them have been sent back across the border. But instead, they've been sending ICE to deport and round up the tribes. But yet you got heathens that's in this country, man, that's living free off your citizenship, man, your money, your tax dollars. But yet you're taking a blame for the crime in America, man. Show you how they feel about you. All right? Go to the book of Psalms 83. This is, I like to say this is the genocidal scripture because, this is exactly what it goes into. What is these things coming from, man? But it says here, Psalms 83, and I'm going to start at verses 1. Let's start the first verse because, it's straightforward. And it reads, and it says here, keep not thou silence, O power, and hold not thy peace. It says, hold not thy peace. And be not still, O power. It says, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, and they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. Yeah, who is the hidden ones? Okay, the Israelites, you Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, because we're not known as the children of Israel in the society as a collective, even though that's becoming a worldwide fact. But, you still got people that acknowledge us as being African American or Hispanic descent or Native American descent. But they're not calling us by our true biblical nationality, which is the children of Israel, okay, which was given to us by Yahuwah. All right. And it says here, for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head, and they have taken crafty counsel against thy people. And it says, and have consulted against they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and have consulted against thy hidden ones, and they have said, come and let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Yeah, and how they want to do that? Ultimately by extermination, because they've tried political programs, they've tried poisons, they've tried going back into Agent Orange back in 1950s when they donated a particular chemical over the harbor of San Francisco in the Bay Area to see how people would react to a response of a biological attack. That was done to disrupt Jake, man. To destroy Jake, and none of that shit has worked. From the foods to the programs, they even use the court systems to totally do away with our people, man. But it's up to the Lord, because the Lord said that his people would dwell forever, man. So they've tried everything. So the last hoorah is Esau's sword, his sword. He's gonna have to come at us with the sword, because nothing else has worked. Okay, and it says here, and they have said, come and let us cut them off for being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more remembrance. It says, for they have consulted together with one consent, and they are the confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, all right, which is a so-called white man, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, and Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, and the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. It says, Ashur is also joined with them, and they have hope in the children of Lot. Right. So there you go, man. These are all the nations that come up against us, and I want to see us eviscerated, because ultimately, you know, these nations have an infinite hatred for Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. So what this lady was saying, hey, it's not off point, because you got Rex 84, you got Project Megiddo, you know, you got all these what is it called, the Enemies Act or something like that, the Alien Enemies Act or some shit like that of 18 something. All these revisions under these political standards, they are trying to come back after our people and make it justifiable of taking us out. You know, so yeah, embrace. All right. Sirach 36, and I'm going to start at verses 1. It says, have mercy upon us, O Yahweh, power of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee. It says, lift up thy hand against the strange nations, and let them see thy power, because the Lord is going to intervene on the behalf of his elect. Okay, he's going to intervene on the behalf of his chosen, man. But the 2/3 of you, hey, you're just going to be for the dust, because 2/3 of you, the Lord don't recognize you on this side, because you refuse to come back to the law, statutes, and commandments. And it says here, and also thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. And let them know thee, that we have known thee, but there is no power but only thou, O Yahweh. Show new signs and make other strange wonders. Yeah, cherries are popping up. Hey, last week we had like a red sun almost. It was like a sun that was shrouded in chemtrails, man. Here the skies were clear, but the sun looked like it was clouded in a blanket of smoke. And they made this folly excuse of there being fires in Canada or something like that. But those are signs in the heavens, man, that the Lord told us to watch out for before his coming. And it says, show new signs and make other strange wonders, and glorify thy hand and thy right arm, that they may set forth thy wondrous works. It says, rise up indignation and pour out wrath, and take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. So this is what we're banking on. Okay, we're hoping that Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai totally destroy these heathens, man. Okay, because we're in that time. All right. Now going down to verses 10, it says, matter of fact, let's just keep reading. It says, rise up indignation and pour out wrath, and take away the adversary, destroy the enemy. Sake the time short, which that came out in the last lesson. It says, sake the time short, remember the covenant, and let them declare thy wonderful works. It says, let him that escape it be consumed by the rage of the fire, and let them perish that oppress the people, and smite in sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen that say there is none other but we. Gather all the tribes of Jacob together, and inherit thou them as from the beginning. And, O Lord, have mercy upon the people that is called by thy name, and upon Israel, whom thou hast named thy firstborn. Okay, so that will be a extent of mercy given to the elect. But for the 2/3 of you, you getting ready to bow down to the slaughter, man, because, hey, you didn't trust in the Lord. You didn't take heed into the warning of the men of the Lord, man. Okay, the Lord said you all will bow down to the slaughter, man. So 2/3 of you are getting ready to be brought down. You know, you're getting ready to be put out of your misery. You know, last precept, and I end it. Ezekiel 21:9. It says, "Son of man, prophecy and say, thus says the Lord, say, a sword is sharpened, and also furbished." It says, "It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter, and it furbished that it may glitter." It says, "Should we then make mirth?" It says, "It contendeth the rod of my son as every tree, and he have given it to be furbished, that it may be handled. And the sword is sharpened, and it is furbished, and given into the hand of the slayer," man. All right, and that slayer is none other than Esau Edom. All right, so with that, I'm going to close out, giving all praises and glory and honor that is due to Yahweh Ba'ashim Habashai by Shem Kakadash. Lord's will, you are edified. Until the next lesson. Shalom.